Hey guys, Nukem Dukem here, and we got some fun, interesting stories for you guys to enjoy. So the first one is titled, Am I a Butthole for Not Wanting My Husband to Go to His Ex's Funeral? I'll admit, I'm biased right off the bat. I couldn't stand her. I call her his ex to myself and others. He called her as his friend. We've been in our early 40s, and she recently died from aneurysm. I've been with him for 10 years now, but he known her for over 20 years. The way he tells it is that they were friends in college, they decided to date, got married, then realized they weren't a great match together and decided just to become friends. All that happened several years before I had met him. He was clear early on that she is a very important friend to him. A couple months into dating, it came up that his friend was actually his ex-wife. He explained the above to me, saying that this is one of his closest friends and that it was purely platonic. I expressed some discomfort at him being so close to his ex-girlfriend or ex-wife, and he told me that it's fine. If you have a serious issue with it, let me know now and save us some time. I'll choose her. I like you and all, but I've known her for over 12 years in my life, and she's one of the most important people in my life. You have to be okay with that if you want us to be a couple and continue dating. When we got engaged, I asked again. He gave me a perplexed look and asked why would us getting married affect my friendship with her. I sucked it up and went along. I resented every moment of knowing her, especially when we had to be social with each other. She understood some part of him that I just couldn't. Her husband was friends with mine as well, so it's not like I could use him as an angle. He'd had lunch with the ex and they would go to geeky movies and whatever. The few times I brought it up, he said, we had this conversation before. You had your chance to back out. She died after they had lunch the other day on the way to her car. Now he spends a bunch of time crying, but honestly, I was relieved. He was working with her husband on funeral planning, and I told him, You don't think you're going, do you? In my argument summed up, she's dead. She's not a factor anymore. He doesn't get to use his she's my friend excuse since she doesn't exist anymore. He had to cry for a couple days. He gets to be done with mourning her already. There's no need for him to go to a funeral since I wouldn't want her at his funeral. He was the angriest I ever seen him when I told him that, replying that he'll be going no matter how I feel, and that he's willing to burn our relationship to the ground if I keep forbidding him to go, while holding up his wedding band. Besides, she was the closest friend in my life. Him, her husband, my sister are calling me insensitive a-hole over all of this, and that they had no romantic aspect to their relationship, and that I'm heartless. Her husband went so far to call me the ghoul for how I reacted. I never felt their relationship was appropriate, and I hid that for years because I wanted to be with my husband. Now she's gone, I don't feel like I have to hide it anymore and can speak freely. So, am I a butthole for wanting him to be done with her and not for him to attend her funeral? Our next story is titled, Am I a butthole for skipping Christmas with my parents since they won't treat me like an adult? I'm a 27-year-old female, and I have been with my boyfriend who's 33 years old for almost 2 years now. We will eventually be getting married, but it's not a priority for us right now. My mom won't let us share a bed if we come to see them for any reason. When we came over last summer, my boyfriend suggested we rent a hotel so we could have some privacy and a comfortable bed. I drove my mom nuts by bypassing her little rules. She wouldn't drop it the entire time we were there. She made me promise not to do that ever again. My boyfriend's mom and dad retired to Mexico, and they were really chill, so we made plans to visit them over Christmas. They are not Christians, so they don't really care when they see their sons with regards to this religious holiday. We didn't tell my parents we weren't coming. My mom asked me at Thanksgiving if I was going to hold the promise and not stay in a hotel over Christmas. I answered truthfully that I would not stay at a hotel. I was sitting there on a balcony of my future in-law's condo overlooking the Caribbean, waiting for the sunrise, and I enjoyed the peace and quiet. I made the mistake of going online yesterday and saw a bunch of posts of my mom and sisters about how that I was a jerk for lying to them about my plans. I may have been a little tipsy last night because I decided to respond. I said that it was ridiculous for them to try to tell me I couldn't share my room with my boyfriend, that I was keeping my promise by not staying at a hotel when we were there, and that if they planned to put everything on Facebook, I would be avoiding all visits for the foreseeable future. They took down their posts when people started crapping on them for trying to control me, but some people did agree with them. Now they're texting and calling saying that I'm an asshole for making them look bad. I asked them if they were planning to make me look good with their post. They stopped for a while, but there were more texts and voicemail this morning. I'm kind of liking the idea of skipping out on all the drama from now, but I miss my dad and he's blameless in this. So, am I an a-hole?
Am I a butthole for bringing up my brother's premature birth at Christmas dinner to get my parents to shut up? I am a nurse practitioner and I am the primary care provider for a lot of the low-risk maternity cases at the practice where I work. I also work hand in hand with the doctors and midwives to create a healthy maternity, birth, and postpartum situation. My fiancée is completing her residency. We live together and have for a few years now. We aren't in any hurry to get married. We originally had plans to do so a couple of years ago, but then we got really busy for 2 years. It is driving my very religious parents crazy that their youngest son is living in sin. I don't really care. I'm an adult and I do what I want. We are getting married in June. So we are visiting my parents for Christmas. The way it came together this year, everyone is at my parents' house. So that's my folks, my 3 siblings, myself and fiancé, and 7 grandchildren. So 17 people. At dinner, my mom starts going on about how she is so glad that we are finally getting married and she won't be embarrassed at church anymore. And my dad says how proud he is of his 3 older kids who all either waited to get married before moving in together or got married right away after moving in together. My fiancé was getting embarrassed and I was getting mad over this stupid argument we have had too many times. And a family dinner was the last straw. I have asked them repeatedly to just accept that they cannot control how I live my life. I refuse to stay with them when I visit even if I come alone. Hotels are just easier. So I started talking about a premature baby I had been reading about. It was almost 3 months premature and weighed about 1.6 pounds. It was super strong and healthy for being born so little, and the NICU had high hopes for the baby doing well. My mom and dad both got deer in the headlights looks on their faces. Too bad. Should not have fucked around with my fiancé's feelings. So I asked about my oldest brother. He was born almost 4 months premature. Is there a chance that we could check out the family album where we keep all the records of family births and stuff? I already know my brother was over 9 pounds and almost 23-inch long when he was born. My grandmother told me all about it the first time my parents tried to shame me. The subject gets changed very fast. After supper, my parents told me that I should not try to embarrass them with private things that are not my concern. I told them that if I heard anything about my living arrangements ever again for the rest of my life, I would make sure to keep bringing up the fact that my mom was in her 2nd trimester when they got married. My parents are mad at me for telling them how to behave in their own home. But my fiancé is happy that they seem to be off the subject for good. So am I in a hole?